When I first started to use your tool, honestly, like I didn't want to tell anyone about it, to be honest. I was like, this is too good. I can't tell anyone about this. And now I'm like, I don't know. I've changed my attitude. I'm like,
Expected,
I'm
you
a
know,
preacher now. Yeah.
you mentioned sometimes I suspect that I think some of our clients want to keep it to themselves, right? Instead of mentioning it because it's definitely a business advantage. Absolutely. So this is the search model. It's think of the you can make LLM model chat or you can make LLM model search, right? So what we did is we trained the model for the search. It cannot chat. All it can do is just search, right? And the way it works, it's I added the domain here, and if I click on it, it shows the text of the website. So it uses the website text to compare domain you give it with the 60 million other domains with the text. Right? So it's a text comparison tool.
Mhm,
It works
mhm.
by building a really dense vector, and it does the vector search. And then you add the domain, and you always want to click the wizard and add the ICP description, let the system build it. Then you give it the prompt. So domain gives the searchy context, and this is your search prompt. Now, with the search prompt, you don't want to think of it as the action. You don't say, hey, find me the companies with 10,000 employees. No. In our case, because it's a search model, it's the text to compare against the website text, right? So this is the comparison text. Do we want to limit it to a particular country?
Yeah. North America. Yep.
Okay,
Yep. So USA specifically. Yep.
so if you don't set the country, it's going to search in 48 languages worldwide, right? It normalizes from all these languages to English, so you just search in English. And so now the next step is we want to do a little bit of reinforcement learning. What that means is one domain is great, but we want to give it a few more domains so the system knows what to zoom on specifically, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I wanted to highlight this as well because this is where it's a bit different to any of the other tools that are out there. There's a refinement process that you do. You get the first page or the second page, and then you start to actually do a review on the accounts and then look for the ones that are a good fit or maybe even ones that are a bad fit. And then you're polishing the search up. Is that kind of how you would describe it?
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So when you do reinforcement learning, you're gonna give it an examples that are very, very specific to your search, right? It's not gonna be like we're searching for the spa. And there's maybe the spa software, there's maybe spa marketing, there's maybe spa everything else, which is also spa language, right? But not exactly the spa. Uh, by reinforcing with more spa examples, we're going to let the system specifically focus on the spa owners and just the spa operators, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the way you want to do it is you can either click on the domain and look at the website, or you can open the little sidebar and look at the keywords, which generate the keywords, and look at the description. Now, our description is different from what you would see in ChatGPT. Is it's specifically done to focus on the business functions, just literally focus exactly on what the company does. And if we compare the two, the spa with this face body treatment and procedures, right? So this is good. We're gonna hit thumbs up and edit. And ideally, you want to add up to 10. We found out you get best results if you search with the 10 lookalikes domain. So have a few different permutations. Now, the next step, once you have this done, I'm not going to do all 10 for the demo, right? But you can refresh the ICP text. Now, if we hit the wizard again, it's going to use the text from all these 5 domains, or 10 if you have it. And it's going to get slightly more generic. Maybe a little bit, you see, it got a little bit longer and added more stuff, right? Add new nutrition, added healing. So added more here, right? So this widens the search and at the same time makes it more accurate. Okay, we'll hit submit again. Okay, so spa is looking pretty good already, right?
Looking very consistent.
As you can tell, like there's just perfectly focused on the spot. So in the next step, in this case, you almost don't need to do it, but in some cases you still need to do it, right? Hit the wizard for the homepage text. And if you want to constrain it, what you do is you add keywords, and they'll help you focus on the very, very specific features of that particular business vertical. So it's optional. You can do it, or you can skip it, right?
Right. So this
Like,
would be like something that you'd want to consider if you have really high conviction that every website should have these keywords. Because
Yeah,
the trade-off would be that you could exclude edge cases that still might be
absolutely right.
in
Absolutely
your
right.
ICP,
If the
right?
website doesn't have any of these keywords, they're going to be excluded, right? So you're going to be losing some results. Now, it's fairly powerful. Look, there's options here. If it's in quotes, it's going to do the phrase match, right? It's going to match the whole phrase exactly. If you click on the company name, it will pop the company text, and you can see which words are being matched. Right, and if you have any false positives, you can say, "Oh, okay, maybe this mark linear is here, laser here removes."
Because this is the thing that I think super different about DiscoLike is there is a bit of an intuitive process to it, isn't there? There's sort of a you're kind of exploring it and configuring it as you go.
Yes, you're training the model, right? Then we have the two different type of searches combined together here. So what you can do is you can target the website intent, right? If you literally, I was just helping the client yesterday. They were looking for the cancer treatment, and they wanted a very particular treatment, like fish treatment, right? They literally only cared about the hospitals worldwide that did that specific testing procedure called fish for the particular type of cancer. And it worked beautifully. It worked beautifully. Otherwise, how would you know there's um, tens of thousands of hospitals around the world, and you only need the ones that do the fish procedure. So now we'll hit submit, and we got our results. So now we're ready to see how big the market is. All you do is you crank this all the way up to 10,000, and we'll hit submit. So look, in this case, um, it ran all the way to 10,000, right? So, and it's probably true because there's so many spots, right? There's a lot of spots in the United States. So if that happens, here's what you do. You save it, save the results. That's the first 10K and save it. And now we can go into the search scope and exclude the first 10K. And this is the place where you can also exclude the existing clients or any other companies you don't want to touch. Maybe the unsubscribes or who knows, some if you have a reason to.
This is something I often do with this tool is with a client, I'll get their HubSpot or Salesforce where they've actually got the domains enriched. And then when we're building out new verticals or a new market or just trying to expand the existing TAM of a current market, we'll put those domains as an exclude list. And then we know that all of the new accounts that we're finding are new accounts as opposed to ones that might already be in their sales and marketing system.
Exactly right. Exactly right. It's going to be new account. Oh, maybe you might have other reasons, right? Like maybe you want to exclude the competitors, so who knows? In this particular case, we're just going to extend we're going to continue search and beyond the first 10,000, right? I'm going to hit submit again. Let's do it again. Yeah. So the thumbs down, I'm going to do the exclude, right? As the tip suggests. And the thumb up, I'm going to do the include. So if you do
Uh,
the include is really useful if you have external list and you want to search just within that list you got externally. The example could be you have inbound emails and you want to filter the inbound emails uh, only for the companies that match your ICP, right? You always have some noise within the inbound, people trying to sell you something. So that helps you filter the inbound stuff or the list you bought somewhere. So we'll hit the thumb down. Right, I forgot to do it and let's run it. And we have 10,000 more easily, right? So it is still good. It's a big vertical, right? It's a big vertical. So you can redo that process again and again until you exhaust the full market. You can build list as big as 100,000. The other very powerful feature we have is you can search by tech stack. For example, if I do the HubSpot, HubSpot.com, and we'll hit the wizard, let it suggest all the CRM companies, or at least the top ones, right? Uh, Here we have the list, and just for the top 100, we'll go real quick, see if suppose any of them are using it, right? So look, some of them are using the CRM company, probably indicates it's maybe a bigger company, right? Because, it's not just the mom and pop spa, but somebody where they do a little bit more. For example, with the HubSpot, you can drill in and see which of the HubSpot, if they have multiple products, you can see which one of the products they use. So for example, if you want to only use the HubSpot forms instead of the full CRM implementation, you can just click on the HubSpot forms
Hmm.
And just like with the tech stack, you can also target the subdomains. You want to think of subdomains as the business function, right? So if the company does support, right? Then click on wizard, right? The different variation of the support, and there's probably more. ChatGPT is your friend to help you here. Okay, look at a few of the bigger ones again have the support, right? And
Oh, very interesting.
if you want to target the company with support, or you want to target like how we have example here with the career pages, or maybe you want to target CRM subdomain or anything else, right? That's an additional option you can use and then target. You can filter by the social media presence, maybe like somebody who has LinkedIn presence, or you can target uh, Google App Store and Google Play. Uh, it's unlikely this Spa gonna have any of those. Is it probably Spa related software provider with the mobile app? But for example, if you're searching for banking industry, more than a half of them will have the mobile app, right? Your mobile banking app, mobile app, business application, or searching for the
I just had a quick question. With the precision, what does domain consensus mean?
really good question. And it goes to the beginning of our conversation. This is the consensus, 5 of them. And we're telling the system to search with 10 domains. So if I hit submit, what it does, it uses the top 5 we gave it, and it can automatically complement with the type more, 5 more from the top 10, right? Because we're instructing it to search with the 10 domains. Searching with 10 domains is optimal, right? So if you only give it one, it'll search with 10 anyway. Now, if you want ultimate copy of that one, you can slide it down to 1, and it's literally going to be
Right.
with that
Hmm.
one. In a rare case, if you literally want as close as possible to that one domain you're searching.
So if you're really happy with the first page, you could max out domain consensus and that would improve the search?
No, the 10 is optimal.
10 is optimal. Okay.
Right. What happens if you have really big vertical, like medical spa may be one of the examples, then I do suggest bumping it maybe to 15 or 20, like you're searching for electricians, you're searching something that's really verbose. And in those cases, the more is helpful, right? If your vertical is small, for example, you're looking for very specific SaaS software, right? Then maybe you can bring it down a little bit to reduce the noise, right? You can bring it down.
And then the minimum similarity, can you explain that as well? Because sometimes, like when I'm using this and I'm using the minimum similarity, I like kind of intuitively understand what it means, like in the sense that how far away from the lookalikes are they, is how I currently conceive of it. And then I sometimes notice that I can just change it 1% either way, or like 1 point either way, and it'll create like hundreds and hundreds of new accounts. So, what does the minimum similarity slider mean?
So what it does, it compares the similarity of this vector, the one you define with your text and your lookalike domains, against the profile record, right? And now the bigger the definition, the bigger the overlap, the bigger the similarity, right? So that number sort of floats a little bit. It's not, if you type one word, the similarity going to be lower. And if you give it one domain, one word, it's going to be low. You have multiple domains and multiple words, the similarity going to be larger, right? But you're absolutely right. The way you use it is you gauge how similar you want the result to be to that original set. Um, the other way to use it is really big verticals. If you don't need the 10,000 and you don't want to spend money before it's just right, you can say like, hey, give me really tight similarities and bump it way high to 90s and see what it returns you, and then just gradually increase it to let the system, dole out tiny bit more each time.
Mm,
Or
mhm.
if you find a noise, right, like we had earlier, right, we looked at the trail and there was a lot of noise. But we paged back and we found where the noise stops. You can look at the similarity where the noise was. You get in, like for example, um, like I can't show it with the hundreds. But if you review the results and you see, oh, somewhere around the similarity of 81 or 82, you convert, it moves from really good matches to noise. Then you can come back and say, look, I only want the similarity 90, and they cut off it at that point. This segment is a completely different model. I'll use a sample example. This is where you take your existing client list. So what it does, it takes your existing client list. All you need just a domain, and it's going to group them together by similarity. And in my case, the list was the automotive suppliers, right? This is a client and their client, the client's customers, automotive suppliers. Right? And as you can see, the largest group is the automotive core and maintenance, and then use aftermarket. So it takes it already a fairly narrow category and breaks it down further, right? That's the beauty of it. It's going to give you really nice sub-vertical. And see how different they are? So this was the aftermarket parts, and the next one is tire retail, quite different, right? When you're going to be searching, the two are not the same, and the gas and electric vehicle, right? So this is very specific to electric vehicles, and the truck accessories, again, completely different, and so on. But instead of guessing and saying, what are the top verticals for the client, you let the system find them, and then I also just suggest you the top examples to start searching with, because they are the part of the centroid. These are the right at the center of that particular cluster, and you search with that. One other way to really look smart in front of your clients is to ask them to give you the full CRM, including the prospects, and keep the close one stage column. And what's that going to give you? Let's say we have how many? 9 records here, right? Let's say one of them going to be in a closed stage. So what you can do is you can calculate the ratio of the records in a cluster in the segment versus how many of them close, right? So in this case, if one is closed, it's going to 10, a little over 10%.
At DealFlare, when we book meetings and they attend and they become opportunities, we actually even start scoring them at that point in time on an account level with DiscoLike.
Excellent, excellent. So this is a perfect idea. And because the system cluster them by similarity, you can say, look, you're targeting that particular group, but you're not closing any of them. Your close ratio is like 0 or 1%. You're spending all time meeting them, giving them demos, and you're not closing. Versus look at this other group, you're closing 20% or 30%. A lot more productive, right? So you can tell which particular segment has a market fit and which particular segment you think there's maybe a market fit, but there is none, right? And you're wasting your time.
And the big thing we learned actually, you find way more segments than you think you're going to with this tool as well. You might think that you're already in a really tight vertical where whether it might be automotive parts, online shops, right? And you're like, oh yeah, we've really niched down. But then you use this and it's like, are they brakes? Do they do this?
You're spot on. Yeah, this is a very good example. Like in these automotive parts, and all of a sudden I realize there's truck parts, right? And there's tires, and the two are quite different. The tire shop is not the same as a truck accessory shop, and it's not the same as the high performance motor shops. So in each one, once you search for each one separately, you totally map your TAM, and you have a ton more accuracy, a lot more accuracy. So that's the segment, and let's move on. Now, append is a really good feature to, if you have externalists, like if you wanna take existing CRM and validate it, upload it here, append the biz data for the user profile, for the company profile, domain status. If you want to see what happened with the domain, it's going to tell you if it's parked, if it's, if it's dead, if it's obsolete, to really clean up the CRM. And remember, we spoke about the subdomains. The group is very, very powerful. If you append the groups subset, we'll track the number of subdomains quarter over quarter. And that will help you find the companies that are growing fast, right? That's a really good signal. So very powerful. Now, moving on, match. Now, if you happen to have company name, but you don't have the domain, the match is your friend, right? Your CRM has names, but your sales guys were lazy, they didn't type the domain name, you can recover those records. Or if you bought an external list, or maybe downloaded the list, and all we had to do is put them here, get the domains, and then go back to Discover and put them here into search scope, and boom, we were done. About 600 companies. So very, very powerful. Just giving you an idea is how you can be very creative with combination of the options. You can save, you can come back to them with any queries, you can reopen them, you can download as CSV, and you can push them to the webhook. Just configure webhooks and push them to Clay, push them to HubSpot. Anybody, any other software that supports the webhooks can accept the push.
So this is like the entry point whenever we start working with a client. There's been instances where a SaaS company, they've been around 7 or 8 years. I've literally just put the domains from their CRM in, and I've been able to find another 500 counts that end up getting approved by the actual sales teams.
Beautiful, beautiful. We have plenty of clients confirming it. I mean, it's not like a single data point, right? We had a big case study with the cold IQ where they, for a really tough vertical, more than double the number of clients. And the company previously used a poll and it used everybody else to the full extent. And all they could do, they still haven't found half the companies in the market.